on, a grand slam for Jay Jabs, and 6 runs for the Gatemen here in the second.
That was an absolute moonshot. And here he is. Fastball in there, strike 3, got him looking. Bailey Clark escapes the jam.
The 3-1, hit well to left center field. Bird is back, he is not going to catch it, it's off the base of the wall. 1 run will score, Jabs is quickly behind him. He will score as well. It's a 2 RBI double for Andrew Kisner, and the Gatemen now lead 7-0. Now has a 2-2 to Bortles. He got him! Zach Houston comes in the game and strikes out the side.
Ground ball up the middle, Grand Prix spins around, throws. What a play, Preston Grand Prix.
And we are back for game 2 of this twin bill between the Brewster Whitecaps and the Wareham Gatemen. I'm Eric Bremer. I will be joined briefly, or shortly rather, by Jake Garcia, who is actually throwing out tonight's ceremonial first pitch. Also going to be joined later on in the broadcast by Megan O'Brien. We are all set for about a 7 o'clock first pitch. So we will get things going and give you the starting lineups. First for the visiting Brewster Whitecaps, led by Jamie Shevchik in his first year. Batting first in left field is Colin Lyman. Batting second, the center fielder, Toby Handley. Batting third, the shortstop, Eli White. Batting cleanup, the first baseman, Nick Senzel. Batting fifth, the catcher, Will Smith. Batting sixth, the second baseman, Robbie Tenerowitz. Batting seventh, the designated hitter, Brandon Gold. Batting eighth, the right fielder, Ryan Purifoy. Batting ninth, the third baseman, Chandler Avant. We are going to go to our crowd microphone for the national anthem. We will be back in just a moment.
So proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Another very nice rendition of the national anthem by what sounded like the same 4 young ladies who sang for Game 1. Speaking of Game 1, the Gatemen fell to the Brewster Whitecaps in Game 1 by a score of 5-4. The main failure. Oh, and here's Jake Garcia going from behind the pitcher's mound, firing a bullet a little bit wide, throwing to Preston Grand Prix and posing for a picture. Oh, that's nice. Full disclosure, we were approached in the broadcast booth about who would be given the opportunity to throw out the ceremonial first pitch, and I graciously declined because I'm doing play-by-play for Game 2. Jake did play-by-play for Game 1, and since Jake's going to be doing color this evening, we thought it would be right for him to throw out the ceremonial first pitch, which turned out to be more like the ceremonial throw from second base. The Gatemen will line up in the field behind Evan Hill out of the University of Michigan. In the outfield, from left to right, it'll be Logan Sowers, Charlie Warren, and Jay Jabs. In the infield at third base, Andrew Kisner. At short, Mark Karaviotis. At second, Tanner Kirk. And at first, David McKinnon. And catching Evan Hill will be Jarrett Reinflesch. We are now finally joined by Jake Garcia. And Jake, what went into the decision to throw the ceremonial first pitch from behind the pitcher's mound?
Well, actually, a lot went into it. I was told right before the national anthem that I would be unable to stand atop the mound because I guess that right's reserved for Evan Hill here for the Gatemen. But so they instructed me to stand in front of the mound, and I knew that you were going to be broadcasting it from the booth, and I didn't think that would look good for our viewers to be standing at, what is that, like 45, less than 45 feet.
It's just not right.
It's not fair. So I decided to go behind the mound, and I think my introduction justified that, saying that my days as a Division I athlete never started. So I went out there with a chip on my shoulder, trying to showcase the arm strength I have. What'd you clock me in at?
I didn't have the gun on you. Our MLB scout coordinator, Brian Shropshire, might have, but just using my eyes, you know, the eye test, very popular among scouts.
Yeah.
A little bit wide.
Right.
You have the arm, but I think a little bit of control issues.
I definitely have plus stuff. My fastball is electric, and the movement that I thought was showcased there was pretty devastating. If that's a right-handed hitter with 2 strikes, that's an exceptional pitch.
I just think you're lacking in the intangibles.
Yeah, probably.
You're not going to make it.
I'm a thrower, not a pitcher.
Yeah. Back to the game, which is about to begin. Evan Hill on the mound, lefty out of the University of Michigan. He's made 1 appearance so far for the Gatemen this summer, has a 5.4 ERA. He had 1 2/3 innings of 1-run ball. He walked 2, struck out 1, allowed 2 hits during that time.
Looking at this lineup for Brewster, Will Smith slotting in at catcher and batting 5th today. I was a little bit surprised he wasn't in the first game in the lineup for Brewster then. He's swinging a hot bat right now, 6 for his last 14 over his last 7 days here with Brewster. So be watching out for his bat, pretty potent at the middle of this lineup.
Colin Lyman leading off. He squares the bunt, pulls it back, and we're off. Ball 1 missing high. Both teams wearing the same uniforms. Gatemen in their home whites, Brewster in their road navies. This one bunted foul, and count now 1-1.
Just to close off, me throwing the first pitch, I sort of feel...
You're still out of breath.
Yeah, I sort of feel like an Eric Burns type. I, just got done playing, just roll out of my uniform pretty much and into the broadcast booth, just sitting here calling a baseball game.
Pretty admirable. The 1-1 to Lyman. This is inside, and it hits him. Made no effort to get out of the way, but he will walk down to first anyway, a leadoff base runner for the Whitecaps here in Game 2.
Hanley from SUNY Stony Brook.
Now Toby Handley, center fielder for the Whitecaps. Handley led off Game 1, and he had a pretty good game. 3 for 4, a single, a solo home run, 2 for 3, and then he walked in the 4th, and then came around to score. A quick pickoff move, not in time to get Lyman.
Now I'm not sure how much background you've done on Evan Hill because I wasn't welcoming our viewers into the start of this broadcast, but a right-handed pitcher out of Michigan standing at 6'5" on the mound. Left-handed pitcher, excuse me. After this season with Michigan, he was named the 18th best Big Ten prospect by D1 Baseball. So had a good year with the Wolverines, 11 appearances through 38 innings and struck out 37 batters. First appearance for the Gatemen, though, in 2015.
The count 0-1 to Toby Handley. Checking the runner Lyman at first and delivering to the plate. Squaring to bunt, and it's a brushback pitch. A little bit of chin music for Handley, and the count now 1-1. With the count 1-1, Hill takes a set and delivers to the plate. Missing high, now 2-1. Gatemen lost 5-4 in Game 1 this afternoon. This is a rescheduled doubleheader from yesterday when a storm system moved through the Cape area and postponed every single doubleheader that was scheduled. So 10 games being played in the league today between 10 teams on a day when there were initially supposed to be 0. Count now 3-1 to Handley.
And we were kind of left in the dark about that. The Gatemen game was the final one to have been canceled yesterday. The entire rest of the league had opted to cancel theirs. We didn't find out till the last second that the action here at Spillane Field would have to be pushed back a day.
3-1 to Handley. Hit well to center field, but right at Charlie Warren. He comes in, puts it away, and Lyman retreats to first, 1 down. For those of you not familiar with Cape Cod geography, Wareham is the only team in the Cape Cod Baseball League that is not actually on the Cape proper itself.
Right.
We are on the other side of the Bourne and Sagamore bridges, which means that some of the low-pressure systems that tend to worsen out over bodies of water aren't as severe here. We saw that in the games during the first week as this one ripped to left, down for a hit. Lyman rounding second, and he'll head for third. The throw to third is well in time to get Lyman.
Wow.
Logan Sowers with a good throw. I don't even know if it required a good throw. Lyman making a risky move, trying to go to third. He pays the price, and he's out number 2 on the bases.
It looked like Sowers kind of coaxed Lyman into trying that attempt there. Didn't particularly come in hard on it, but he didn't need to. That ball was hit so hard that he was able to field it easily and then just make an easy throw onto third, and he got Lyman by a significant margin.
Now Nick Senzel, the first baseman. I use the following phrase as a crutch, but we have heard it both ways. We've heard it Senzel, we have heard Senzel, and save from asking the man himself, who has been busy in between the 2 parts of the doubleheader, we will go with Senzel and try and stick with it for a little bit of consistency. Count 1-0. Hill checking the runner, now White at first and delivering. Hit on the ground, right side and through over the glove of McKinnon. This one will allow the runner to reach third. And runners at the corners with 2 down for the Whitecaps.
A good piece of hitting there from Nick Senzel. The pitch from Hill was on the outer portion of the plate. He didn't try and do too much with it. Just pushed it through that right side, and now a first and third situation for Brewster.
Now the catcher, Will Smith. Catcher in Game 1 was Cassidy Brown. Not at all peculiar to see a different catcher behind the plate for Game 2. 14-plus innings is a lot to ask, even after an off day.
Remember, Will Smith swinging a very hot bat right now. 6 for his last 14, hitting .429 over the past 7 games.
.429 on the season as well. A late arrival for the Whitecaps. First pitch, a breaking pitch, misses inside, ball 1. To complete the thought from a moment ago, we saw the difference in weather patterns on the Cape and in Wareham the first week of the season when there were other games on the Cape in a fog delay, and while we had fog, it wasn't nearly as severe and didn't impact the game. Similar situation yesterday when we were the last ones to have our games called. Another breaking pitch misses inside, it's 2-0.
There's a method behind the Gatemen as a team name, and they're essentially the gatekeepers of the Cape. Not actually on the Cape, but they serve as the guardians to the rest of the Cape.
Have you been reading promotional materials recently?
No, just history books.
2-0 to Smith. Finds the strike zone. It's now 2-1. Runners on the corners, 2 down. Whitecaps looking to strike first here in the top of the first. Runner at third is White. Runner at first, Senzel. Evan Hill, the Gateman lefty, checking the runner at first and checking him back with a bullet of a throw to McKinnon.
Remember, we're at that portion of this game in which the sun is shining directly in the eyes of the first baseman, McKinnon. You can see him with sunglasses on, hat pulled down low, but that dart thrown over there by Hill, he's flirting with it getting lost in the sun.
The 2-1 to Smith. Up the middle. Shortstop Karaviotis has it. He tags the bag himself, and that'll do it for the Whitecaps. They get 2 hits but leave 2. The Gatemen are coming to bat on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, we're now joined by the third member of our broadcast team, Megan O'Brien. Megan, take it away.
Thanks, Eric. And kind of an interesting matchup for the Gatemen pitching staff. Evan Hill on the mound last summer. Evan was with the Brewster Whitecaps. Now out playing for the Gatemen, was a late addition to this team, but we'll see how the lefty fares against his former team of last year. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Megan. Yeah, interesting to see how that's going to turn out. On the mound for the Brewster Whitecaps is Anthony Arias, a man who is familiar to the Gatemen. They saw him opening night, and Arias shut them down, but he's had less success as of late.
That's right. Arias, a right-handed pitcher, a sophomore, standing at 6'2" on the mound. So far this season, a 7.04 ERA. However, he did strike out 10 Gatemen back on June 9th when he started the game through 5 1/3 innings, allowed 2 runs in that. But 10 punch-outs really stand out.
Gatemen batting order, if you couldn't deduce it from our defensive lineups, is Robertson, Jabs, Kisner, Sowers, McKinnon, Karaviotis, Warren, Rhineflesh, Kirk. Robertson takes ball outside, ball 1. Robertson playing in his second game in his first day in a Gateman uniform this year. He was 3 for 4 in game 1 with 3 singles. Hit in the air, right side, foul territory. Senzel after it, and nearing the wall, he makes the catch. Nice play by Nick Senzel for out number 1.
Senzel scales that wall down the right field side, and that's what you'd expect. This first base position for the Brewster Whitecaps has really been a revolving door all season. Not your prototypical guys play first base for them, much like David McKinnon for the Gatemen. Senzel checked in at second base in game 1, so a much more athletic first baseman than you normally anticipate.
First pitch to Jay Jabs bounces in the dirt for ball 1. Jabs in game 1 reached twice on 2 errors and also had an RBI ground out. He was 0 for 4 on the day. He swings and misses at an off-speed delivery, and it's now 1-1. The 1 error, though, in the 5th, peculiar, and we don't want to critique Toby Hanley where no critique is needed, as Jabs again waves at an outside pitch, and it's now 1-2. Hanley had a routine flyout off the bat of Jabs in the 5th inning with a runner at first and 1 down. But his glove, we believe, broke. The netting busted, and it was a 2-base error. This one cued down the line, and that grass not been so long, it might have trickled back fair. As it is, count still 1-2.
Yeah, very interesting play there. Toby Hanley had to then swap out his glove and turned around the next inning. Made a catch easily with that brand new piece of leather.
1-2 to Jabs. Swung on and missed, but it gets away. Smith is going to have to throw down to first, and he does. Not in time. It was a close play. It looked like Senzel took his foot off the bag to catch the throw anyway. So Jabs will reach on a wild pitch. Despite striking out, he's aboard at first with 1 down for Andrew Kisner.
Even when Jay Jabs is retired, his contributions to this Gateman lineup proved to be huge. He had no hesitation there after coming up empty. That's exactly what you want, a very heads-up baseball player. As soon as he saw that ball get past Smith, he was off and running to first.
He was caught stealing in the 7th inning, the last inning of game 1. And this one, the first pitch gets away from Smith again, and Jabs will trot down to second. A wild pitch, I believe it will be called. And so now the Gatemen have a runner in scoring position with 1 out for their 3-hitter.
Commented on a tire last game with Kramer Robertson's white cleats. Andrew Kisner in this game has gone with the addition of a white sleeve on his right arm.
Well, the sun's going down. It's getting cold. You need that sleeve.
It looks cool,
it's
too.
It's entirely necessary
it looks very
for his
cool.
athletic performance.
It looks so cool. That's all that matters. If you look good, you'll play good.
The 1-0 in the dirt again. This time, Smith at least gets enough of it to keep it around him. Jab stays at second. It's now 2-0. The lefty Arias coming to a set, checking the runner. Jabs at second, and throwing over with a phantom ball. Kisner in game 1 was 0 for 3 with a walk and an RBI ground out. He's also caught stealing back in the third, one of 4 outs the Gatemen made on the base paths. The 2-0. Clips the inside corner. It's now 2-1. A better crowd for the nightcap. Makes sense that as people get off their 9-to-5 jobs, they are more easily able to make a 7 o'clock start than a 4 o'clock start. 2-1 to Kisner. Hit in the air, foul, back and out of play.
Looking at Kisner's swing, and we don't have a center field cam to showcase this, but he seems
Here we are.
There we are. Talking about Andrew Kisner, though. He seems to hide his hands behind his body more so than the typical hitter does. And it's very Giancarlo Stanton-esque. Can make up for it, though, with extremely quick bat speed.
2-2 misses low in the dirt, gets away from Smith, but not far enough. And Smith has had enough, and he'll go out and talk to Arias.
And expanding on that, as a hitter, you're instructed from a young age not to hide your hands behind your head. That is, the pitcher should always be able to see your hands. Why? Because it creates a straighter path to the baseball when you opt to swing. But guys like Stanton, who does it professionally, and Andrew Kisner, who's had a ton of success at the collegiate level, can, I don't know if you will get away with it, but utilize that kind of batting stance and position of their hands by just lightning quick hands.
Payoff pitch to Kisner. Hit in the air, left side. Foul. Avant after it. Out of our view and out of play. So another 3-2 to Kisner, as Avant working up a little bit of a pitch count here in inning number 1. The runner jabs at second, reached on a strikeout, wild pitch, and then advanced to second on another wild pitch. The pitch to Kisner, missing wide, ball 4. So the Gatemen have 2 runners on with 1 out for their cleanup hitter without the benefit of a hit.
Logan Sowers from Indiana.
It'll be Logan Sowers, who was 0 for 2 in 3 at-bats. 3 plate appearances, I should say. He walked and scored on a couple wild pitches back in the 4th inning.
Worth pointing out that Anthony Arias, before that last walk to Kisner, hadn't allowed a walk in all 7.2 of his innings of work so far this year.
First pitch goes to the backstop. Jabs and Kisner will advance. So now 2 runners in scoring position, ready for Sowers to drive them home. Sowers had home run number 1 on the season for the Gatemen, but has been pretty quiet on that front since. The 1-0 from Arias. Hit sharply left side and through. 1 run will score. Kisner quickly behind him. The throw to the plate is going to be not in time. Logan Sowers drives in 2 with a first inning single, and the Gatemen have an early 2-0 lead.
A good job there by Sowers to find his fastball and find a hole in the left side of the infield. I thought Kisner, and rightfully so, didn't get as good of a jump as he would have liked. He had to see that ball through the infield before he could take off and fully commit to going home. He gets too far off there and one of those guys fields it. They have Kisner rung up. So he had to watch that ball through the infield. And for Cooper Ferris, a gutsy move to send him. As soon as Kisner was touching third base, Colin Lyman in left field was retrieving that ball and winding up for his throw.
Now David McKinnon at the plate. First pitch to him is a strike. McKinnon was 0 for 3 in 3 at-bats in Game 1. Came into the day batting .382. The 0-1. Hit sharply left side, should be a double play ball. Over to second, on to first, not in time. Apparently not hit hardly enough. So Sowers is forced out at second, but McKinnon reaches, and the inning is extended.
Not hit hardly enough, or just that David McKinnon possesses really surprising speed for a first baseman. It's been well documented on our front, and there you see it in action.
Arias looked like he was about to pitch out of the windup out of habit. then caught himself. Now out of the stretch. Checking the runner McKinnon and delivering to Mark Karaviotis. It's a strike. I'm not sure if there's a stats bureau for the Cape Cod Baseball League, but we had an oddity as the 0-1 to Karaviotis hits the inside corner. It's 0-2. Oddity just a few moments ago. Jay Jabs reached first base on a strikeout / wild pitch, advanced to second on a wild pitch, and advanced to third on a wild pitch. I wonder how many times that has happened in the history of baseball. The 0-2 hit weakly into shallow left field. It's going to fall in for a hit. Karaviotis didn't get very good wood on it, but muscles it out into shallow left field. It's hit number 2 in the inning, and runners at first and second now for the 7-hitter Charlie Warren.
And base runner number 5 for the Gatemen. And this top of the order proving that they can find their way on base. And Charlie Warren, who's hitting 7th, has done that at a clip that's exceeded all of his teammates.
Warren has experience as a leadoff hitter just in the past couple days. First pitch to him is sent foul down the left field line.
You can keep that foul ball courtesy of attorney Glenn Hannington and his daughter Tevis.
Warren batted 6th in Game 1. He was 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. The runner at second, McKinnon. Runner at first, Karaviotis. The 0-1 from Arias to Warren misses outside. It's 1-1. Gatemen scored 2 runs so far in the bottom of the first inning. Logan Sowers with a 2 RBI single through the hole to left, scoring Jay Jabs and Andrew Kisner. And Arias will step off, with McKinnon straying a bit too far from second for his liking. Back on the mound, he takes the sign and delivers to Warren. Missing in the dirt, this one smothered by Smith. It's been an issue in this inning and in this day for both teams. The wild pitches, letting base runners run wild. Count now 2-1. Warren takes a strike on the outside corner. It's 2-2. Pretty nice night here in Wareham, Spillane Field, home of this year's Cape Cod Baseball League All-Star Game. The 2-2 to Warren, missing low and away. Count will be full, runners will be off, and Rhineflesh on deck. Runners go. Arias with a 3-2, misses wide, ball 4. Warren reaches base. Rhineflesh will come up as the 8th man to bat in this inning. Gatemen looking to add to their early 2-0 lead. Looks like there's going to be a conference on the mound, and for good reason. Arias really struggling here in the first.
So in all 9 of his starts now for the Gatemen, Charlie Warren has reached base. It's a liberty that Coach Cooper Ferris possesses if he can have that kind of production not out of a leadoff guy. If Kramer Robertson continues to stick as this team's leadoff person in their lineup and Charlie Warren continues to reach base on the lower portion of it, that's a huge spark plug and something that's really going to contribute to flipping the lineup over more quickly.
Mark Karaviotis chatting it up with the middle infielders during that conference. Now Jarrett Rhineflesh, who has struggled in the stat book, but if we keep saying it, perhaps it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Rhineflesh has been hitting the ball hard, just has not found the grass yet as he takes strike 1. We've brought it up ever since he was, about 0 for 12? Now 0 for 22, and the hard outs keep piling up. The 0-1, hit in the air. It'll stay in the infield. Second baseman Tenerowitz puts it away for out number 3. So Rhineflesh leaves the bases loaded, but the Gatemen get two in the first. After one, they lead 2-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We are in the top of the second inning. Gatemen leading for the first time all day. They lost 5-4 in game one of this doubleheader, but now lead 2-0 against the Brewster Whitecaps. Evan Hill out to begin his second inning of work. Gave up 2 hits and a hit batsman in the first inning, but he left 2 runners on at the corners, and Colin Lyman, the leadoff hitter, was retired trying to stretch from first to third on a single. It'll be 6, 7, and 8 for the Whitecaps. Robbie Tenarowitz, Brandon Gold, and Ryan Purifoy. Tenarowitz batted cleanup in game one. He was 0 for 4. He was actually the only member of the Whitecaps starting lineup to not reach base in that game. He came into the day batting .368 with 7 hits and 19 at-bats. He takes ball 1.
Also leading his team in home runs, so interesting to see Jamie Shevchik deciding to, I don't know if it's a short fuse with him, but moving him 2 spots down in the lineup after an 0 for 4 performance.
You might get a pitch to hit here from Hill with a count 2-0. Hill from the windup delivers to Tenarowitz. It's low, ball 3. Brandon Gold waiting on deck, the designated hitter. Hill will try to deliver a strike, and he does. It's now 3-1. Whatever wind we had at some point today has now calmed down considerably. The flagpole is standing still, and so is the flag on it. Chop to the left side. Karaviotis has it. He has to come up quickly and fire. He does. Out number 1 comes off the bat of Tenarowitz.
It's not often that you see a team from the Cape Cod Baseball League have 2 guys with such immense range and immense fundamentally sound play, at least defensively, like the Gatemen do. And it's a liberty that they have. They can mix and match their infield. Robertson, Grand Prix, and Karaviotis all right-handed hitters, but based on how they're doing at the plate, I'd assume that's how they would filter in on defense. Karaviotis can play both positions. Grand Prix likely predominantly only a shortstop, and Robertson only a second baseman. Kirk, though, here tonight in place of Robertson.
Swings at a strike, and the count now 1-1. Hill will beckon Rhineflesh out. Perhaps a miscommunication. Gold out of Georgia Tech. 8 for 28 on the year with 1 extra base hit. It was a double. Count now 1-2 after that called strike. The 1-2 from Hill to Gold, missing low in the dirt. It's now 2-2. Hill from the windup delivers the 2-2. Hit on the ground left side. Karaviotis up with it. Throws across. And Karaviotis is 2 for 2 in opportunities so far here in the second inning. With 2 down, that'll bring up Ryan Purifoy, the right fielder. Purifoy batted 5th in game 1. He was 1 for 3 with a triple, scoring a run later, and he also walked.
Maybe that game 1 for Purifoy, the start of something big for him. Still a temp player after starting the season off extremely hot.
First pitch off the glove of Hill. to Karaviotis. He's going to have to hurry. He does, and it's in time to get him. Score that 1-6-3. Evan Hill has a 1-2-3 inning thanks to the quick reflexes of his shortstop, Mark Karaviotis. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We are back at Spillane Field. Gatemen leading 2-0 over the Brewster Whitecaps. We're in the bottom of the second inning. It'll be 9-1-2. Tanner Kirk leading off. Anthony Arias looking to have a better inning in the second than he did in the first. So that one lined down the third base line, but just foul. Third base umpire jumping out of the way. I don't think anyone had a better view of it than he did. There's a parasailer out there somewhere.
What a shot by our always stellar intern crew. Man, that's some high definition cameras right there. That zoom focus is just on point right now.
Pretty good.
Think he's sailing in to make a guest appearance here at Spillane Field?
If he is, I sure hope it's announced. Kirk had to go back and get another bat after that liner down the line. He's back with the count 0-1. Arias winds and delivers. Fouled back. And it's 0-2. In the first inning, Gatemen got 2 runs on 2 hits, 2 walks, and also had Jay Jabs reach on a strikeout and wild pitch. The 0-2 to Kirk. Got him swinging. High fastball. And Kirk is out number 1 here in the bottom of the second.
At one point here at the start of the season, Tanner Kirk was leading the entire Cape in hitting, but he's gotten into a little funk at the plate. And now, after that strikeout, 0 for his last 18. And on a Gatemen team that's loaded with middle infield depth, and very solid one at that, Tanner Kirk sort of fallen out of favor here, but can always redeem himself if he catches some lightning at the plate.
Now Kramer Robertson fouled out to the first baseman Nick Senzel to lead off the home half of the first. He takes outside ball 1. So Robertson now 3 for 5 in the 2015 Gatemen season. 1-0 is a strike. It's 1-1. He's the lone returning all-star from last year's squad. Although being an all-star on a team like the Gatemen had last year is a dubious honor.
Well, they did have 5 of them, so I mean it's not like there was anything fluky about their performances. Just as a team, not able to see the results that they'd want to.
And Robertson, I believe, batted in the mid 200s for a batting average. 2-1 to Robertson. Hit foul. Yeah, the All-Star nomination earned. I want to get that straight. But I think to be an All-Star on a team like that and then to be the lone returning one speaks more to the quality of the team than I think the lack of returners. If that makes any sense. It probably doesn't. 2-2 fouled off.
The other All-Stars for the Gatemen last year, Keaton Aldridge, Chris Chinia, Kyle Cody, Scott Efros, and then Robertson making the 5th and final one. A lot of those guys drafted now. Could go either way. I see your point.
Another 2-2 to Robertson. Chopped weakly down the third base line, and it's going to trickle foul. We mentioned that, I think, for the first time on the air in Game 1, that the baselines here are denoted by the border between the grass and the gravel.
Combine that with a football goalpost in play in left field and a gravel infield, and that makes a very unique ballpark here at Spillane Field.
And a bird's nest on the light tower, apparently. Another 2-2 to Robertson. Very slow breaking ball, misses up and away. Count now full with Jay Jabs on deck.
The backstory on the gravel is that it was initially implemented when the high school team played here. Never replaced it.
3-2 misses wide and Robertson's board. I've also heard that the decision was made to make it gravel because it would be easier to clean the uniform. Which I guess makes sense. I don't know if it justifies such a
visually jarring spectacle.
Yeah, I don't know if it quite shows up on TV, but the infield, when a baseball fan is used to such rich hues on the field, it's a very sickly gray in the infield. And although we're used to it after spending a couple weeks here, I think our first time we were both taken aback by it.
I think the biggest thing is that it still plays like regular dirt, if maybe even truer hops. At least that's what the middle infield combo, Preston Grand Prix, has told us, that, yeah, it rolls better than my home field back at Cal.
He's also a guy who likes real grass rather than turf because the ball tends to skip on turf. Makes sense. The 0-1 to Jay Jabs misses away. It's now 1-1.
Yeah, there's a trade-off there. He's referencing going to Oregon and playing on their turf. On turf, you know the exact hop you're always going to get. But with that, the ball gets on you pretty much quite a bit quicker than just regular grass and dirt.
Missing inside to Jabs, almost clipping the sleeve of his jersey. Jabs wearing number 38, wears a pretty baggy jersey. I wonder if the uniform numbers correspond to the sizes at this level like they did in Little League. 2-1 is a balk, no pitch, and Robertson will advance to second. So 3 wild pitches in the first, and a balk here in the second.
My one comment on the jersey size correlating with the numbers is I sure hope not. I hope we've moved past that.
2-1 to Jabs, high fastball, and gets a swing and a miss. It's now 2-2.
But I have participated in some reading programs with the players to elementary schools, and when asked why they chose their number, they said they were just given to us. So not like Jabs has any special preference to 38.
2-2, another high fastball, and gets another swing and a miss. Jabs retired for out number 2 here in the second.
The third baseman, number 6, Andrew Kisner from North Carolina State.
So Jabs strikes out in both plate appearances so far tonight, although in the second one he doesn't reach base and he won't come around to score. It'll be left to Andrew Kisner, who walked in the first, advanced the second on a wild pitch, and then came around to score on the Sowers RBI single. Another chance to drive in a run here with Kramer Robertson at second. Ball 1 misses low. Gatemen leading 2-0 in the bottom of the second inning. They got 2 runs in the first on that Logan Sowers 2 RBI single. They left the bases loaded, though, trying not to leave any more on base here. The 1-0, missing low again. Smith blocking it. Arias looks like a completely different guy than the guy who struck out 10 Gatemen on opening night and shut down this offense for a Whitecaps win.
His control hasn't been the same, yes, but he has still struck out 3 batters here today, not even through 2 innings. Swing and miss stuff still there, but you're right, he hasn't been close to the strike zone, or as close as he was back in Game 1.
With the 2-0, Kisner does not get a pitch he likes. It's a little bit in, and he takes it for a strike. Some words of encouragement from Cooper Ferris, standing in the third base coach's box. Arias takes the sign and from the set delivers. Hit in the air. Shallow center field. Tenerowitz out, and he puts it away for out number 3. So the Gatemen get a base runner into scoring position on a walk and a balk, but they do not score in the second. We head to the third, the Gatemen leading 2-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Gatemen leading 2-0 as we head to the top of the third inning. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. This is game 2 of a twin bill doubleheader. rescheduled from yesterday when there were supposed to be 10 games across the league, all of them postponed because of weather. Gatemen lost game 1 by a score of 5-4. Evan Hill is out on the mound to begin his inning number 3. First pitch swinging, sent out to center field. Warren back to his left a couple steps, puts it away for out number 1. So Chandler Avant retired quickly, and now that'll turn the lineup over to the leadoff hitter, Colin Lyman.
From Louisville.
Gatemen in game 1 fell to 0-5 in one-run games, and then on days in which they're playing a doubleheader in those games, 0-3. So a win here in game 2 against Brewster, ever important for them as they look to get back within one game of 500.
Lyman takes a strike on the outside corner. He was hit by a pitch to start the game, then tried to go from first to third on a single by Eli White and was thrown out easily by Logan Sowers in left. Hit on the ground, right side, into the breadbasket of McKinnon, throws on to first. Hill's there just in time for out number 2. We've seen that come into play a few times in the past couple games, perhaps just because once you mention it, you're more aware of it. But Hill, a left-handed pitcher, is throwing and falling off to the third base side of the mound. And then he has a longer distance to go to first. First pitch misses somewhere to Toby Handley.
With his tall frame, though, it's important for him that he keeps it all under control. And by the looks of it, he does a good job doing that. Every left-handed pitcher is going to fall off a little bit towards third base, but Hill's movement over there, not as stark as some other guys. And specifically some other smaller guys as they try and get their entire body into their pitch. Hill has that lankiness so he can utilize his limbs more without having to throw his entire body with the pitch.
2-0 from Evan Hill to Toby Handley. Misses very wide. And it's now 3-0 with Eli White on deck. Logan Sowers had a pretty nice throw from left field to retire Lyman back in the first. The 3-0 right down the middle. It's now 3-1. Hill takes the sign and delivers the 3-1. It's sent down the right field line, back and out of play. So now the count full. Evan Hill looking to retire Handley and have another 1-2-3 inning. The 3-2 misses very high, and it's ball 4. Handley will reach, and that'll bring White to the plate.
White's already singled in this ball game. Back in game number 1, had an RBI double. Been on base quite a bit here today, so Evan Hill with 2 outs, not what he wanted to do in walking Handley.
Eli White from Clemson.
White actually played first base in game 1 when he was 1 for 3 with an RBI double and a walk. Pickoff move is unsuccessful. Handley back safely at first. White, not really built like your typical college first baseman. I can see him more as a middle infielder, and I think that's his native position. Like, if you just looked at Eli White, would you say, that guy's a first baseman?
No. Same thing with David McKinnon, too. But something the Brewster broadcasters told us was that Brewster and Jamie Shevchik really like to mix and match their first baseman. Doesn't have to be a guy who looks like your average one. It's all about getting their bats into the lineup and their athleticism at first.
And it raises their draft stock almost certainly if they can prove competent at first base. In the words of Ron Washington in Moneyball, it's incredibly difficult. Paraphrasing, I guess, but it's not as easy as it looks to play first base at a very high level. As the count now 2-0. And if a middle infielder can show with a bunch of scouts watching that they are able to play at first base. Well, that can't hurt.
Just like any position, first base is an art form.
2-0 from Hill to White. Sent on the ground, scooped up by David McKinnon on a hop, and he takes it himself for out number 3. The Whitecaps get another base runner in the third, but they do not score. We head to the bottom of the third. The Gatemen leading 2-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. With the Wareham Gatemen leading 2-0, Jay Jabs has been a big part of all the wins for the Gatemen. And to talk more about Jay Jabs, we're joined again by Megan O'Brien.
Thanks, Eric. And yes, Jay Jabs has been a tremendous part of this Wareham Gatemen offense. Has one of the strongest bats in the lineup. Hasn't shown it yet today, but I talked to manager Cooper Ferris the other day, and he told me that Jay Jabs is originally a third baseman, and they're trying to get him to adjust to that right field position. So far, he's done a pretty good job, and earlier today you guys were mentioning the arm strength that Jabs has, and we've seen him throw out many people from that right field position. So look for him to only improve that upon the summer, as well as bring his bat to the lineup. Jabs was just brought to this Gatemen team as a temporary player and earned that spot as a roster player. So look for more of that out of Jabs throughout the summer. Back to you guys.
There was a ball hit right at him, and he kind of got tangled up not knowing which way to turn his hips. And that's the hardest play for an outfielder to make, is to make a decision on the fly which way you're going to turn your entire body. And Jab sort of got twisted up. One of them turned out to be a home run, so it didn't matter. The other one bounced over his head. That, and I've been told that he still wears an infield glove in the outfield. So that gives it away, too.
A breaking pitch just misses, and now a fastball just misses. It's now 2-2 to David McKinnon. McKinnon, who reached on a fielder's choice his first time up, sends it to shallow left, and Lyman coming in making the catch. Hard to read that off the bat because it looked like a pretty powerful swing, but might have gotten off the end of the bat a little bit and sent harmlessly out to left field, where Lyman put it away for out number 2.
From Oregon.
Now Mark Caraviotis, who singled his first time up. It was not well hit, but just enough juice to get out over the shortstop Eli White and into left field. 1-0. Check swing. It's a strike anyway, and it's now 1-1. The 1-1, excuse me, is sent foul and out of play. Gatemen got 2 runs in the first, left the bases loaded, left a runner at second in the second. Now trying to get something going here with 2 down in the bottom of the third. The 1-2 is sent back to the backstop. It's now 2-2. Arias from the windup delivers the 2-2. It's in the dirt. Count runs full with Charlie Warren on deck. There was an arm that our cameras picked up warming up in the bullpen. As soon as we can positively identify him for you, we will do that. The 3-2 to Mark Caraviotis. Hit on the ground, left side. White deep in the hole, throwing across his body in time. Nice play by Eli White to end the third inning. The Gatemen go down in order, and at the end of 3, it's Gatemen 2, Brewster nothing on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, Gatemen leading the Brewster Whitecaps 2-0. We are in the top of the 4th of a 7-inning game. It's the nightcap of a rescheduled doubleheader from yesterday. I'm Eric Raymer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. It'll be 4, 5, and 6 for the Whitecaps, due up to face Evan Hill, who's been pretty good in his first 3 innings of work tonight. Senzel singled in the first.
From Tennessee.
In game 1, he was 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. First pitch from Hill is a strike on the outside corner. Evan Hill pitching to Jarrett Rindflesh, who was a defensive substitution late in game 1. Nick Sierri was the starting catcher, then was subbed out after reaching base late in the game for a pinch runner, Mark Karaviotis. Rindflesh coming in to catch the last inning.
Yeah, in the span of these 2 games, we've pretty much seen all the regulars for the Gatemen, at least the guys who, as of late, have been occupying spots in the lineup.
1-1 on a hop to McKinnon. He gets his body in front of it, gloves it, and takes it himself for out number 1.
Number 14, Will Smith.
He's stayed busy. That's the 3rd time he's had a ball hit to him through 3 1/3 innings so far in game 2. Now Will Smith. He grounded into an inning-ending fielder's choice in the first inning. Came up with the runners at the corners. Game still, obviously, 0-0 in the top of the first, but unable to drive a run in. First pitch, chopped to second. Kirk has it. Throws on to first in time to get Smith by a couple of steps. 2 quick outs for Evan Hill here in the top of the 4th.
I don't want to put a broadcaster's jinx on it, but you mentioned
jinxes don't exist.
I agree.
Proceed.
I agree. But it seems like whenever you say something like this, the opposite tends to happen. But you talked about the first game really dragging along, a lot of pitching changes, a lot of batters stepping out, a lot of catchers calling time. But this one really humming along. The Gatemen had a long first inning, and ever since then, both Arias and Hill have been really dominant on the mound. For Hill, a 1-2-3 in the second, face 4 in the third, and here poised for another 1-2-3.
Robbie Tenerowitz looked like he wanted to cut the deficit in half with that swing, but he comes up empty. It's 0-1. Tenerowitz grounded out to short his first time up. Hill rocks and delivers. Off-speed pitch. Finds the outside corner. It's quickly 0-2. Evan Hill, he talked to us the other night about having the velo pouch.
I was going to bring that up at some point.
Which is theoretically a little extra fat, a little extra punch that gives you some extra velocity on your fastball. He didn't need it there as he strikes out Tenerowitz to end the 4th inning.
He doesn't have a velo pouch.
No,
He's
he doesn't.
Very skinny.
Imagine what would happen if he had an extra 5 pounds of fat.
It'd be dangerous.
2-0 Gatemen as we head to the bottom of the 4th on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We're back at Spillane Field. Our WCTV interns getting some exercise. And the Gatemen are feeling pretty good, too. They're leading 2-0 as we head to the bottom of the 4th inning. Anthony Arias still out there, despite really struggling in the first inning and not really being sharp at all. He's through 3 innings and he's allowed only 2 runs. He has only allowed 2 hits, but he's also walked 3, allowed 3 different wild pitches, and right now has a 2-0 deficit. He'll face 7, 8, 9 for the Gatemen: Charlie Warren, Jarrett Rindflesh, and Tanner Kirk. Warren walked in the first, looking to get on base again. As we will pause to let Gateman manager Cooper Ferris get out to his post in third base box. Cooper does what Cooper wants, and he'll take his time doing it.
And that's completely fine. Nothing wrong with that.
Warren thinks about bunting, instead takes a strike.
I think that's what 15 years in the Cape gets you.
The three-time champion won the championship in his first 2 years here with the Gatemen. As that one, a breaking pitch, misfires and hits Warren square in the back. He'll go to first. And then, winning in 2012, the most recent time in which the Gatemen went to the playoffs.
Yeah, he's been successful, and he has a knack for recruiting solid players, too. A lot of them, many of the times, get plucked by Team USA or the MLB draft. We saw one of them in Corey Ray not even show up just because he was with Team USA. Anthony Kay, now at Team USA, as well as Dalton Jeffers.
Runner goes first pitch. It's a hit and run. Ryan Flesch gets a piece of it and flips it over the screen. That was Zachary Ryan warming up in the Whitecaps bullpen, probably next in line if Arias runs into any more trouble here in the bottom of the fourth inning. Ryan Flesch still looking for that elusive first hit of the season. The 0-1 sent straight back to the screen. He was right on it. Still looking to turn one around. The count is 0 balls, 2 strikes. The Arias delivery low in the dirt off the chest protector of Smith, and Warren will stay at first. Again, the count 1-2. First, a check of the runner at first, and as my eyes are drawn over to the right side of the diamond, I see that now the Gatemen have started yet another bonfire down the right field line.
They're trying to hide it, but you can only hide smoke going up for as tall as you are while sitting down.
1-2 to Ryan Flesch, hit well to left center field. Hanley going back, and he puts it away for out number 1.
Jarrett Rindfleisch's season has really gone in phases. It started off where his at-bats were poor, and he was moving his head a lot, according to Cooper Ferris, and not really seeing enough pitches that made him successful back at Ball State. And then he made some adjustments and started to hit the ball hard because of it. Really had nothing to show for it. Before that last at-bat, though, he had struck out 3 times in the game before, hit a weak pop-up here today, so apparently some frustration boiling over. Or at least that would be my best guess when you're hitless in 20-plus at-bats. That's a terrible feeling. But good for him to put together a good at-bat and put good wood on the ball, even though nothing to show for it still.
Tanner Kirk at the plate. He struck out swinging his first time up. He takes low ball 1. Kirk still wearing those yellow-tinged, presumably Wichita State yellow spikes at the plate. The 1-0 finds the strike zone. It's now 1-1.
Also sports that helmet accessory that blocks the front portion of his left cheek. Talked about Kisner being Stanton-esque. That's something that Stanton uses too.
Arias to Kirk, misses low. It's now 2-1. Warren's at first, and he's checked back. Throws on a hop, but Senzel handles it all right. He reached on a hit by pitch, the second of the game, and the first for Anthony Arias. The other one coming on the other side of the field. Evan Hill hit Colin Lyman to lead off the game. 2-1, the runner goes. High fastball taken for a ball. The throw down to second is in time to get him. Charlie Warren thrown out, trying to steal. Out number 5 on the base paths for the Gatemen so far today.
We mentioned it in the first broadcast, but coming into Game 1, the Gatemen were 17 for 21 in stolen base attempts. The second best mark in all of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Here today, though, when they've been putting runners in motion, it's been costing them outs on the base paths.
3-1 to Kirk, misses low, ball 4. Kirk will take his place, but instead of there being first and second with 1 out, There's a runner at first and 2 outs.
The designated hitter number 3, Kramer Robertson from LSU.
Now Kramer Robertson. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. That walk came his last time up in the second inning. He advanced to second on a balk and then was stranded there. Had 3 hits in Game 1 in his first 3 at-bats of the Cape Cod Baseball League season. Arias, the lefty, able to keep a close eye on the runner at first as the first pitch misses for a ball. I would not be entirely surprised if Kirk took off here. Arias to the plate to Robertson. In the dirt and off the chest protector of Smith. Kirk will advance to second. So it did not require a stolen base. Instead, the 4th wild pitch of the game for Anthony Arias. The Gatemen have a runner in scoring position with 2 down for their leadoff hitter. It has been a wild game, both metaphorically and literally, for Anthony Arias. 4 wild pitches, a balk, a hit by pitch, and 4 walks. Only 2 hits allowed, though, and that's part of the reason why he's only surrendered 2 runs.
Is that the metaphorical or the literal?
Well, it's been wild in that it's been crazy. It's been peculiar, out of the ordinary. But wild literally because he has no idea where his pitches are going. Speaking of which, the count now 3-0 to Kramer Robertson. First base is open with Jay Jabs on deck.
So kind of like a walk-off walk.
I suppose. We're going to go back to that again. And they are going to intentionally walk him. Now, you think this should be an automatic thing?
Yep.
Despite all the control issues that Anthony Arias has had today. You think that intentional walk should be automatic?
I do.
All right, well.
Saves time.
38, Jay Jabs.
The point of that there was to make him execute a throw to home, which he did easily.
That's your West Coast Cavalier attitude. So now Robertson at first, Kirk at second. 2 down for Jay Jabs, who has struck out twice, but at the first time he reached on a wild pitch, advanced to second on a wild pitch, advanced to third on a wild pitch, and came in on the Sowers single. A very slow breaking pitch, finds the zone at 0-1. Smith might have been crossed up. He'll go out to the mound to chat with Arias.
Even if he were crossed up, that's a pretty harmless cross-up there. The curveball from Arias was so slow that Smith had plenty of time to react and catch the ball before it harmed anyone. The dangerous version is when you're expecting curveball and get a fastball. That's where both you and the home plate umpire could get hurt.
The score 2-0. The count 0-1. Arias to Jabs. On the outside corner, it's 0-2. Jabs didn't like that one. So now Arias, for the first time in quite a while, in the driver's seat. He's gotten Jabs twice so far today, looking for number 3, the 0-2. Just misses the outside corner. It's now 1-2. The lights now on. I guess they have been on for the entirety of this second game.
The sun not yet set, though.
The 1-2 in the dirt. It gets away. The runner at second, Kirk, thought about it, but he's probably scoring on a single anyway. He decides to stay at second. And as a consequence, Robertson will stay at first. Count now 2-2. 2's across the board, actually. 2 down. As Arias takes the sign. Checking the runners, he delivers to Jabs, missing wide. The count now full. The runners will take off. Andrew Kisner on deck.
I feel like Toby Hanley in center field is playing Jabs pretty shallow. Yes, he wants to come up gunning and a base hit in front of him, trying to get Kirk out.
Runners go on the 3-2, just missing the outside corner. Jay Jabs walks. It's the 3rd walk of the inning. Anthony Arias has walked the bases full, and that might be the end of the day for him. We will see, and yes, there is someone coming in from the bullpen. So we will go to break. When we come back, we'll have more on the new Whitecaps pitcher. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball League Network and watching WCTV. Back at Spillane Field, Gatemen up 2-0 in the bottom of the fourth inning, but threatening for more. They have the bases loaded full of walks and 2 down for their 3-hitter, Andrew Kisner, against a new Whitecaps pitcher, Zachary Ryan.
6'2", 205 from Georgia Tech. So far this season, he's made 2 appearances, started 1 game. All told, 9.2 innings, allowed 3 earned runs, and struck out 5. So a 2.79 ERA for the right-hander. And he'll inherit a very tough situation against the Gatemen's 3-hitter, Andrew Kisner.
First pitch to Kisner, misses very high. Smith had to leap out of his crouch to catch that one. It's ball 1.
They say hitting's contagious. Perhaps wild pitching is contagious too.
Gatemen have had 4 base runners this inning, a hit by pitch that was erased on a caught stealing, and now 3 walks. The runner at third, Kirk, second, Robertson, and first, Jabs. 1-0 to Kisner. That's a strike. It's now 1-1. The 1-1 to Kisner. Missing low and away, 2-1. Zachary Ryan, very little margin for error, coming into a pretty tough situation. Trying to get Kisner for out number 3. 2-1 from Ryan to Kisner. Missing the outside corner, now 3-1. Again, no place to put Kisner, and Logan Sowers on deck.
And he also doesn't want to locate something over the middle portion of the plate because Kisner's going to be looking up, going to be approaching this pitch, looking for 1 pitch and 1 pitch only. That's a fastball right down Broadway, and he could punish one.
3-1 to Kisner is a fastball. It's up and away. A bases-loaded walk to Andrew Kisner. Zach Ryan comes in and continues the trend of walking Gatemen. It's now 3-0.
And you never like walking in a run, but maybe in a sense, that's a blessing in disguise for Ryan.
Really? I'd like to hear your rationale for this.
It's not the preferred outcome there by any means,
right.
But Kisner has gap-to-gap power. With one swing of the bat, a shot in the gap could empty the bases in a hurry.
And now at the bat, Logan Sowers, who I've seen in batting practice, hit it into the football bleachers. First pitch, missing wide, ball 1. Sowers almost certainly will not swing until he takes a strike. And Will Smith out to tell that to Ryan. 1 run so far here for the Gatemen in the 4th without the benefit of a hit. In fact, they have 3 runs so far this evening on just 2 hits.
And all those hits coming in the 1st inning. And Karaviotis was the last one. Sowers had a 2 RBI single.
1-0 to Sowers is a strike. Now he'll be swinging away with the count 1-1. Runner at first, Kisner. He got an RBI with his bases loaded walk just a moment ago. Jabs at second, Robertson at third. The 1-1 to Sowers. Missing up and in, it's 2-1. Ryan takes the set as Sowers looking to add to the Gatemen lead. The 2-1 missing up and in. It's 3-1. David McKinnon would be on deck, and in what's becoming a recurring theme, no place to put the batter at the plate, Logan Sowers. With the bases loaded, the 3-1 from Ryan to Sowers. Swung on and missed. He got a fastball it looked like might have taken a little bit off, but gets a swing and a miss. Now the count full. Runners will be off with a pitch.
And expect Sowers with 2 strikes to cut down from that big hack he just took there. he had the liberty of trying to uncork one, but here with 2 strikes, trying to shorten up and put one in play.
3-2, the runners go. Sauer strikes out swinging. So the Gatemen get 1, but for the second time in 4 innings, they leave the bases loaded. We are through 4. Gatemen lead the Whitecaps 3-0 on the Cape Cod Baseball League Network and WCTV. Gatemen leading 3-0 as we head to the top of the 5th. They could have even more. They've left 7 runners on base, including leaving the bases loaded in both the 1st and the 4th. No matter to Evan Hill, he'll take whatever he can get. He is yet to allow a run to this Whitecaps offense as he begins his 5th inning of work. Brandon Gold, Ryan Purifoy, and Chandler Avant, the 7, 8, and 9 hitters for Brewster, are due up. Eric Bramer joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien, bringing you Game 2 of this doubleheader. First pitch, a foul tip into the glove of Rhineflesh. It's strike 1 to Gold. Again, with a scheduled doubleheader like this is, we only play 7 innings. So while this is the 5th, it can be treated in many respects like the 7th. Sent softly out to right center field, down for a hit. Gold's aboard for the leadoff hit.
3rd hit of the ball game for Brewster. First since the 1st inning, and first since it was Nick Senzel, the cleanup hitter. So a time and a half through the lineup since Brewster has notched a hit off of Hill.
Now Ryan Purifoy, last time up, hit a chopper off the glove of Hill into Karaviotis' glove, who made a really nice play, picking it up and throwing across in time for out number 3 in the 2nd. Ball 1 misses. Hill with a 3-run cushion, trying to throw strikes. The 1-0 to Purifoy. Hit in the air, right side, down the right field line, foul territory. Kirk, McKinnon, and nobody will end up with it.
Tanner Kirk covered an extreme amount of ground there. He was up the middle, playing at double play depth, charged over towards that line, and got pretty much as close to it as McKinnon did.
There is an arm warming in the Gatemen bullpen, a right-handed arm. We can't see because it's behind the fence, which is obstructed with a semi-see-through green curtain. But I would imagine it might be Ian Hamilton, as ball 2 misses low. Hamilton was initially scheduled to be the 3rd pitcher in Game 1, but plans were altered when the Gatemen got down early in that game. We hypothesized at the time that Hamilton might be saved for Game 2 and a prospective Gatemen lead. 1-6 on to first, in time for the double play. The second 1-6-3 put out of Purifoy. This time it gets 2 outs in the process, and the leadoff single is erased. Now 2 down for Chandler Avant.
Talked about Evan Hill and his talk about velo pouches. That's an instance in which he's very glad he doesn't have a velo pouch. Able to square around quickly and field his position on the sharp ground ball from Purifoy. He's not able to do that with an extra 5 pounds of fat on him.
Chandler Avant waves at an outside fastball. It's 0-1. Avant flew out to center his first time up. Avant batted 6th in Game 1. He was 1 for 4 with a single and a run scored. He takes a strike. It's quickly 0-2. The count 0-2 from Evan Hill to Chandler Avant. Takes a sign, wind up, and deliver. Foul out of play. Again, we only play 7 innings. So the Whitecaps running out of time to erase this 3-0 deficit. The Gatemen have handed them the 0-2, low and in the dirt. Dug out by Rhineflesh, no matter, with nobody on base. It's now 1-2. I say the Gatemen have given them that deficit, but I think they've handed it up quite freely. We mentioned before only 2 hits for the Gatemen, both of them coming in the first inning. It has been a very poorly pitched game for the Whitecaps. The 1-2 from Evan Hill to Chandler Avant, missing low in the dirt. It's 2-2. With 2 down, the 2-2 from Hill to Avant. It's off a foot, as quickly indicated by the officiating crew, and the count will remain 2-2.
Question for you.
Yes.
Given that we're playing 7 innings, a winning pitcher, and the stat of a win is another point that we could talk about on a different broadcast, but going 5 innings still apply?
I was wondering about that as well. I would imagine probably 4, because that's still more than half the game.
Yeah.
I was also wondering when you have the 7th inning stretch, because the whole point of the 7th inning stretch is to stretch for the stretch run the last couple innings. This one hit well, right center field. Jabs, though, coming in. He has it measured. He puts it away for out number 3. The Whitecaps get a hit, but only 3 men come to bat. We are through 4 1/2. Gatemen leading 3-0 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. I'm playing the opening strains to take me out to the ball game because I'm making an executive decision. In a 7-inning game, the 7th inning stretch should be played in the middle of the 5th.
Yeah, and I think regardless of what the actual rule is, Evan Hill should definitely be in line for a win now if his bullpen, and that's if we see a member of the bullpen out on the mound, if they can preserve this 3-0 lead.
5, 6, and 7 for the Gatemen. David McKinnon, first pitch, hits Zachary Ryan in the backside. He recovers, throws on to first, and it goes wild. It'll go into no man's land. McKinnon going to second, a big turn. He's going to go for 3. The throw to third is not in time. A wild play, a bunch of things happening. We'll try and dissect it for you. Comebacker to the mound, hits Ryan on the backside. He recovers, tries and throws to first. The throw goes wild. No one's there to back it up. And long story short, McKinnon on third with nobody out.
We have the Cape Cod official score next to us. However, I'm going to make the claim that that's a base hit followed by an error on the pitcher.
Yes.
That is exactly what it will be ruled, and I think McKinnon rounding second, he hesitated a bit. Wasn't sure if he should try for 3, but it paid off for him, and the head first slide, he was in there.
Now Karaviotis at the plate. Breaking pitch. Sweeps across the strike zone. It's 0-1.
See the infield being drawn in now.
Yep. 0-1 to Karaviotis. Hit in the air, center field. Hanley to his left, setting up for a throw. So is McKinnon. He's going to go for the plate. The throw is offline. A sacrifice fly for Mark Karaviotis scores David McKinnon, and now the Gatemen lead 4-0.
That curveball from Ryan had some wicked movement on it. Karaviotis hung in there and recognized the curveball, picked it up early, kept his front shoulder inside the baseball and deposited it into center field. He'll be rewarded with an RBI.
Now Charlie Warren, who's reached base twice without the benefit of a hit or an at-bat. He walked in the first. He was hit by a pitch in the 4th and then was caught stealing second. An appeal of McKinnon tagging up at 3rd. He did not leave early, or if he did, it wasn't noticed. And so the run counts. Ryan winds and delivers. It's a bunt right back to the mound. Ryan this time will have to throw on, and he does so accurately. Out number 2.
Foreign places that ball just a few paces to the left from our vantage point, or to the right of Ryan. He's aboard first base with the base hit. But because it was just slightly back to the mound, Ryan was able to field and beat Warren by half a step.
Now Jarrett Rhineflesh. 2 down. He's 0 for 2 on the day.
I think we're being instructed to look at the moon there.
Yeah, the moon exists. It's a thing. Swung on and missed, and off a glove goes back to the backstop. The 0-1 misses high. So Zachary Ryan currently on the hook for that run that just scored. Although, if he retires Rhineflesh here, it will be an unearned run. Taken for a strike, it's 1-2. The book on Arias also closed. He gave up 3 runs, all of them earned. Gave up only 2 hits. The 1-2 to Rhineflesh. Just misses the outside corner. It's 2-2. The 2-2 from Ryan to Rhineflesh. Got him waving at an off-speed pitch outside. So Rhineflesh goes down, but the Gatemen tack on another one in the bottom of the 5th. We head to the 6th with the Gatemen leading 4-0 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Gatemen looking to salvage at least one game of this doubleheader. They lost game 1, but they have a 4-0 lead as we head to the top of the 6th inning in game 2. I'm Eric Bramer, joined by Jake Garcia and Megan O'Brien. There are only 6 outs left to get for the Gatemen if they want to finish off this victory. Evan Hill still out on the mound. I don't know if even he anticipated going this long, but no reason to make a switch. He's been very good all night, allowing no runs on 3 hits.
Yeah, looking at his line, I'm not all too surprised that he's still out there, back for another inning of work in the 6th. 3 out of 5, 1-2-3 innings for him, so he's been pretty economical with his pitch count.
Leadoff hitter Colin Lyman thinks about bunting, instead takes low for ball 1. Lyman 0 for 1 on the day, but he was hit by a pitch in the 1st. Hill from the windup delivers the 1-0. Chopped foul. It's been a long day at the ballpark for everyone involved, but I think it's safe to say that we'd rather do this today in good weather than what would have been pretty crummy weather yesterday. The 1-1 misses low and away. An appeal down to 3rd is unsuccessful. It's now 2-1.
And the way the day transpired, it was very possible that we could have gotten 2 baseball games in yesterday, but also factor in the toil that would have had on the field and the impact there, and probably not worth it. Probably best to push it back a day.
2-1 floats over the zone. It's now 2-2.
Interesting note on the Gatemen crowd, and there may not be a lot of people here today, as this game was supposed to happen yesterday. Today was supposed to be an off day, but the Gatemen currently ranking 3rd in the entire league after Katuitt and Hyannis in home attendance, averaging just under 800 fans in attendance per game.
Now, this is an easy question to answer. Someone will know. But how do you tabulate gate receipts when admission to these games is free? You do a head count?
Look, I just go on Point Streak and report the facts. I don't gather the facts.
2-2 sent foul and out of play. It's good, though, that this team is drawing well after 2 really rough seasons. I think people are recognizing that this Gatemen squad is competitive and has a chance at making a run at the postseason. The 2-2 misses wide. The count runs full with the 2-hitter Toby Handley on deck.
And any time you have a Gatemen team that has a shot at making the postseason, you're going to want to pay attention. Cooper Ferris is known for kind of lulling teams to sleep in the regular season and then having a postseason for the ages, much like back in 2012.
3-2 hit sharply to short. High hop for Karaviotis. Throws across. In time, gets Lyman by a quarter step. That high hop might have thrown things off a little bit for Karaviotis, but if it did, certainly didn't make it look like it, as he handles it cleanly and throws it across.
Coming from our broadcast director, Warren Randolph, he's claiming that the way they figure out attendance is an equation dealing with the 50-50 raffle and the number involved behind it.
Okay. So less than scientific is what you're saying. Perhaps mathematic, but I don't believe in the integrity of the attendance figures.
Well,
Good, though, that if everyone's fudging the numbers, that the Gatemen are near the top in fudging the numbers.
I'd argue, though, that the 50-50 raffle is so important to the Cape Cod Baseball League. That's where it generates pretty much 100% of its income, that it is a science, and that it's taken so seriously, then I guess other things come with it, like measuring attendance.
Okay. I don't agree with you, but okay.
I mean, I don't know. That's just my theory, and I'm going to stick to it.
All right. Count 1-1 to Toby Handley. He's 0 for 1 on the day, in the game, rather. He walked his last time up. He takes a strike. It's now 1-2. On the day, if we're going to count game 1, he was 3 for 4 in game 1 with a home run and a walk, 2 runs scored. So 3 for 5 on the day. The 1-2 misses low and in. Evan Hill's still out there. We've seen silhouettes of people in the Gatemen bullpen warming up, but with a 4-run lead and Hill seemingly in cruise control, he might have the game until he decides he doesn't want it anymore. The 2-2. Swung on and missed. A feeble swing from Toby Handley, 2 down in the 6th.
Toby Handley was evidently guessing breaking ball. Hill pumped by a fastball, and thus the awkward swing from Handley.
Now it'll be Eli White, 1 for 2 in the game. He singled, 1 of 3 hits for the Whitecaps in this game. He was stranded at third, though, in the first. Sends it foul down the third base line. It's 0-1. Actually, the only time that the Whitecaps have had someone on third base. A testament to Hill's pitching ability and his ability in the stretch to keep damage to a minimum. The 0-1 to White, sent on the ground left side. 2 hops to Kisner, throws across the diamond in time. A little closer than I expected, but it's an out nonetheless. Score at 5-3, and the Whitecaps go down 1-2-3 in the top of the 6th. After 5.5, the Gatemen leading 4-0 on WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. We are back at Spillane Field, Gatemen leading 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th of this 7-inning game. Will be a new pitcher for the Whitecaps, Gage Griffin, out of Franklin Pierce University, which means that due up third, Jay Jabs, out of Franklin Pierce University, is facing a teammate.
Yeah, Griffin standing 6 foot 190 on the mound. 0-1 this season with a 4.5 ERA. Be making his 5th appearance of the season. Thrown 6 innings so far. Walked more batters than he struck out.
The book is closed on Zachary Ryan. He went 1 1/3 innings. He gave up 1 hit, walked 1, gave up a run. It was unearned, struck out 2. Yes, we are in the John H. Wild press box on another beautiful night for baseball. How is it that all the games here at Spillane Field, we've been indoors? It's been beautiful, and whenever we've had nasty weather, save for yesterday in which we didn't have a game, windy, all that, we've been outside.
Couldn't tell you.
It's just unfair. 9-1-2, Tanner Kirk leading off. 0 for 1, he walked and scored back in the 4th. Very slow breaking pitch misses outside, it's 1-0.
The lone exception to that was a week ago yesterday in the other doubleheader of the season when we went to Orleans.
That was a pretty nice day.
If anything, a little bit hot for my liking. Sun directly in our eyes. Headaches were a-brewing.
At YD on Saturday, it was in the mid to low 60s, and you were just absolutely miserable.
I take what I just said back. It wasn't too hot for me. I like that weather there at Orleans. So if that's where you're going with it,
All
just
right.
stop right there.
Okay, I will stop. It's now 2-1 to Tanner Kirk. Griffin with the 2-1. It's flipped foul. It's now 2-2. Griffin with the 2-2 to Tanner Kirk. Missing inside, nearly hit him. Count runs full. Kramer Robertson waiting on deck. Another 3-2, missing inside. It's ball 4, and Kirk is aboard.
Second walk in his many plate appearances for Tanner Kirk. Last time he did so came around to score.
Now Kramer Robertson, who's been an on-base machine today. His first day with the Gatemen since being activated. Doesn't have a hit so far in Game 2, but he's walked twice, once intentionally, in 3 trips to the plate. Pitch is bunted. It's a good bunt to the third base side. The lefty Griffin will have to throw on, and he does successfully. It's a sacrifice, though, for Robertson, and Kirk moves on to second with 1 down.
It was a beautiful bunt by Robertson, and likely, or would have had a chance of him getting a base hit out of it, but he slipped out of the batter's box, and so Griffin able to field his position and throw him out easily. It would have been a lot closer, though, had he not slipped.
Now Jay Jabs facing his Franklin Pierce teammate with a chance to drive in an insurance run.
We saw Preston Grand Prix facing Alex Schick, his teammates back at Cal in Game 1, so another teammate combination.
Griffin checking the runner Kirk at second, delivering to the plate. First pitch misses low and away, ball 1.
I think in neutral counts, aside from 2-2, or in hitters counts, the advantage in these types of situation is more in the direction of the hitter than normal. But in pitchers counts, I think it turns completely the opposite direction.
1-0 to Jabs, sent foul behind the plate and out of play. Will Smith had a chance on it, but then it drifted out. I think I also deserve some recognition for avoiding any Will Smith puns during the entirety of this broadcast. You're trying to think of one yourself.
No, I'm just trying to think of a reason why I don't think you deserve recognition.
Okay.
One didn't come to me, though, so I'll give you it.
The count 1-1 to Jay Jabs. Griffin taking the sign. And delivering, missing outside ball 2. Well, have you know, and a little teaser for our audience, that tomorrow the Falmouth Commodores are coming to town, and I've loaded our commercial playlist with a lot of songs by the Commodores.
I respect stuff like that.
2-1 inside, and it hits Jabs. So Jabs is aboard for the 3rd time in this game, and now first and second with 1 out for Andrew Kisner.
3rd time in this game, but still doesn't have a hit here in Game 2 of a doubleheader. Struck out and reached, ultimately scored in the 1st, walked in the 2nd, and here the 3rd time getting hit by a pitch.
That game tomorrow against the Commodores will be the 4th time we've played them so far in this young season.
Yep, getting very familiar with the Falmouth Commodores.
Commodores looking to be once, twice, 3 times the winners. Sorry, 1-0. Kisner 0 for 1. He's walked twice. His last walk was with the bases loaded, and he drove in a run. He also has a run scored back in the 1st. Griffin delivers a ball, although he might have been distracted, as I was, by the loud pop. Again, we hope, as we did the other night that it's fireworks. That's the time of year for fireworks and not anything dangerous. The 2-0 to Kisner. Finds the strike zone. It's now 2-1. The runner at second, Tanner Kirk. The runner at first, Jay Jabs. Kisner stepping in, Gage Griffin trying to avoid giving up another run. The 2-1 is chopped foul towards the Brewster dugout.
What a play, Tom Crane, I believe.
Chopped over the fence and into the mezzanine area here at Spillane Field. And yes, I believe
And
that
it
was
Tom Crane.
Director of Team Security Tom Crane coming up with a nice one-hop catch.
Turned a sparkling 25 years of age the other day. And now showcasing the range of an 18-year-old.
2-2 to Kisner. Flip foul the other way, out of play.
He hopped on that like a cat. That ball was back. He took 2 hard steps back, and then with the bare hand came away with it. If you can locate him, which I'm trying to do right now. Security on his back, now walking away. There he is.
Another 2-2 to Andrew Kisner. Missing inside. The count's full. And Logan Sowers on deck. We'll see if the runners take off. Again, the Gatemen only need 3 more outs in the top of the 7th to wrap this one up. A planned doubleheader. The game is only 7 innings. Fireworks going off in the right field sky. The 3-2 sent up the middle and through for a base hit. We'll see if Kirk tests the arm. The throw to the plate is not in time. Kirk scores another RBI for Kisner, this one on a base hit, and the Gatemen lead 5-0.
First hit for Kisner in either ball game. Went 0 for 3 in game 1. Before this at bat here in game 2, he was 0 for 1 with a pair of walks. So an RBI for him is second of the ball game. Saw the arm there of Toby Hanley in center field. Cooper Ferris has the scouting report on that, and we did too, according to the Brewster broadcasters. Hanley with the weakest arm in the outfield, though he does cover the most range.
Now Logan Sowers, 2 RBI, 1 for 3 in the game. First pitch swinging, sends it out to right field. Purifoy with a long run into the corner, making the catch. Jabs is going to tag to third and do so successfully. So a long, loud out off the bat of Logan Sowers, 2 down, and now runners at the corners for David McKinnon.
The first baseman, number 10, David McKinnon from Hartford.
McKinnon singled his last time up, then advanced to third during the same play on a throwing error by the the pitcher at the time, Zachary Ryan. It was a hard comebacker to the mound. Caught Ryan on his back, or his backside rather, as he finished his follow-through. He tried to recover, hurried his throw, threw it down the line. There was no one there to back it up. And McKinnon was on third base with nobody out as he takes a slow breaking pitch up and away, ball 1. The runner at first, Kisner, he had an RBI single. The runner at third, Jabs. The 1-0, McKinnon sends it foul. It's 1-1. Gatemen have 5 runs on 4 hits this evening. Benefited immensely from walks and wild pitches and hit by pitches and balks and pretty much anything that you can name. The 1-1 sent right to the glove of Nick Senzel. He puts it away for out number 3. But the Gatemen tack on 1 in the bottom of the 6th. They head to the top of the 7th, the last inning tonight, with a 5-0 lead. You're listening to WCTV and the Cape Cod Baseball League Network. Back at Spillane Field, Gatemen trying to close out a 5-0 victory over the Brewster Whitecaps. We are in the top of the 7th, the last inning. And Grant Dyer on to relieve Evan Hill.
Whitecaps now batting number 4, Jack Meg.
Dyer, a
Washington.
member of probably the most lethal bullpen in all of college baseball this past season. UCLA, he was a key cog in that and really a setup guy to their closer and one of the best in college baseball history in David Berg. But Dyer, a big reason why UCLA both won the Pac-12 and then got the #1 overall seed in the tournament.
Pinch hitter for the Whitecaps is Nick Meggs. He bluffs a bunt and takes ball 1. Meggs, an outfielder out of University of Washington, batting .214 on the year. Only 14 at bats. He takes a strike on the inside corner.
And looking at Dyer's numbers, his past season with UCLA as sophomore, 4-1, 55 innings. His 1.80 ERA was second on the team, only to his counterpart and closer David Berg.
1-1, another bunt attempt this time. I think he offered at it. Yes, and third base umpire agrees. It's now 1-2.
And get a load of this, 63 strikeouts in 55 innings, only 14 walks.
Pretty good, right?
Very good.
Pretty good.
I think he gives Ian Hamilton a run for his money in the closer role for this team.
The 1-2, tapped weakly. It's a foul ball, hit the batter, and will remain 1-2.
Because if you think about it, Dyer's a closer on any other team he plays for aside from UCLA.
Yeah. He's got some good stuff. He will try and use that stuff to retire Nick Meggs, the pinch hitter. He's ahead in the count, 1-2. Wind up and the delivery. Sent foul. High fastball challenged him. Got a piece to stay alive. Let's also acknowledge the effort of Evan Hill, whose day is done. He faced just 1 over the minimum after the first inning. 6 shutout innings, 3 hits allowed. Just 1 walk and 1 hit by pitch. The 1-2 sent foul. This one a bit more weakly, but out of play nonetheless. It's still 1-2. Evan Hill just what the doctor ordered for the Gatemen. After seeing Zach Plezak struggle so heavily in Game 1, they needed someone to eat up some innings. And they will need someone in the future that they can depend on, with most of their early successful pitchers leaving for Team USA, as this one just got a piece, tapped foul again. Grant Dyer on in relief, trying to retire the first batter of his Gatemen season. The 1-2. Missing low, smothered by Ryan Flesh. It's 2-2. Not very often do you see the cleanup hitter pinch hit for, but that's exactly what's happened here in the 7th. Nick Senzel sent back to the bench in favor of the light-hitting Nick Meggs. High fastball got him. Grant Dyer strikes out the first man he sees, and the Gatemen are 2 outs away from a victory here in the nightcap.
And it would be their first victory of the season on a doubleheader day. 0-2 against Orleans the first time out, then they dropped Game 1. But here looking for a split, and they're 2 outs away from doing so.
Will Smith 0 for 2. He grounded out into an inning-ending fielder's choice in the first pitch swinging, hit in the air, left side, shallow outfield, Karaviotis out. He waves everyone else off and puts it away himself, out number 2. So it'll be left to Robbie Tenerowicz. I think for the first time I said that how I spelled it. It's Tenerowicz. But spelled T-E-N-E-R-O-W-I-C-Z.
The pinch hitter for the Whitecaps, now batting number 39, Tyler Ramirez.
And I butchered his name all for naught. Pinch hitter Tyler Ramirez coming on. First pitch misses low, ball 1.
This will be the 20th at-bat for Ramirez this season. Only has 1 hit in 19 of them.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
Against Grant Dyer.
Waves at the first pitch, and the count now 1-1. Dyer is pretty good. He has all the pedigree of someone who is going to succeed at the next level. The 1-1. High fastball again, gets a swing and a miss. And now the Whitecaps down to their last strike. Ramirez taps the plate and awaits the 1-2 from Dyer. Inside corner, got him looking.
Your final score this evening.
Grant Dyer, perhaps not used to the fact that this is a 7-inning game, trotted off the field. But no, the game is over. Dyer does not pick up the save, but he has about as shut down of an inning as you can have. Gatemen win 5-0, and they split this doubleheader with the Brewster Whitecaps.
But they took the nightcap
Yes.
against the Whitecaps.
While wearing Navy caps.
And definitely a positive sign for the Gatemen. I thought they were in a bit of trouble in that top half of the first inning when Evan Hill came out, hit a batter, allowed 2 hits. Then he escaped, and then he really settled down from there. Didn't allow a hit in his 6 innings of work. Definitely a good sight to see if you're this Wareham Gatemen coaching staff, because you lose so many guys to Team USA, and you're in need of someone to fill innings. Evan Hill, occasionally a reliever back at school. Today he starts a game and gives the Gatemen a much-needed victory in Game 2.
The totals on the board are correct. The Gatemen with 5 runs are victorious. They scored those 5 runs on just 4 hits. They benefited from 1 Brewster error, and they left 9 on board. The losing Brewster Whitecaps did not score any runs in Game 2 on 3 hits, no Gatemen errors, and they left 3 on. The winning pitcher Evan Hill, the losing pitcher Anthony Arias. There was no save. The Gatemen are next in action tomorrow evening here at Spillane Field as they take on the Falmouth Commodores. It will be a 7 o'clock start, and we will be giving you a full video broadcast for that. So we will sign off. For Jake Garcia, Megan O'Brien, our broadcast coordinator, Warren Randolph, and all of the interns and WCTV staff who helped bring you this game. Thank you for watching. I'm Eric Kramer. See you tomorrow.